Knightsbridge newcomer, was Felicity's biggest event yet in her hometown. I did corporate event planning in Boston for 3 years. I loved being on my own, having the chance to do more fun events. Baby showers, bridal showers, your book party. I have a Jane Austen tea party on Sunday at the local assisted living residence. The aptly named Rivendell. There's a lot of knowledge in that place. No question, Felicity said. The tea includes a literary lecture and Regency period costumes. You must know almost everyone there. Kylie drank some of her tea and returned the glass to the table. Lunch had been simple. Salads from the local country store, chocolate, iced tea. I'm still fairly new to Knightsbridge. I'm doing better with names and faces, but I still get lost in the connections between the locals. Russ does too, but he figures sometimes the less he knows, the better. He doesn't want to know who slept with whom as teenagers, that's for sure. Felicity wondered if her cheeks had reddened, given the turn her mind had taken a few minutes ago. I don't either, but since I did grow up here... She picked up her iced tea. I'll leave it at that. Now that's a tease. Not you and Mark Flanagan. No, Felicity said. Absolutely not. Never. But Mark, the architect who'd renovated and owned the old mill, had a brother, and he was another story altogether. Felicity shook off that thought, gulped her tea, and returned to planning Kylie's book launch party. They'd chosen the Knightsbridge Free Public Library as the venue, written before Kylie had met Russ. This latest installment featured a lonely badger aunt who helps the mice and the badger kids with their fairy house dilemma, and in so doing reunites with her own family and friends. Felicity could sort of identify with Auntie Badger. Kylie was also illustrating a series of classic fairy tales that would launch over the winter with Hansel and Gretel. Then came Sleeping Beauty and Little Red Riding Hood. She was working on Beauty and the Beast. Felicity assumed there'd be a launch party for the series, but she and Kylie hadn't gotten that far in their discussions. I've been holed up here, working for weeks, Kylie said with a contented sigh. It'll be good to be around people again. Going from solitude to a launch party is a big change. It is, for sure. I've kept up with my children's story hour at the library, and sometimes I run into people when I'm out for a walk. Felicity had come to realize Kylie wasn't the least bit antisocial. She just had protracted periods of deep work. Felicity thought she understood, but her own work as an event manager was quite different. For one thing, the events she organized were never her parties, meetings, or conferences. Kylie's books were very much hers. She was dedicated to her work. Felicity liked running her own business, but she'd expected to have a career in finance. When that didn't pan out, she'd ventured into event planning. She'd learned the ropes working with a small high-end business in Boston and struck out on her own 9 months ago, finally returning to Knightsbridge. In Boston, she'd never known her clients on a personal level. These days, she found herself planning events with clients who were friends and neighbors. She still had a handful of out-of-town corporate clients, but her small hometown was bursting at the seams with all sorts of parties and events, weddings, milestone birthdays, babies, retirements, new jobs, housewarming parties. She didn't plan every get-together in town, and she didn't focus on weddings. They were a particular specialty. But with an experienced event manager right there on the river, why not hire her? We need to throw a party for you one day, Kylie said, breaking into Felicity's thoughts. Me? I'd need something to celebrate. Pick something. It doesn't have to be big. Paint the kitchen. We'll celebrate. Felicity didn't for a moment doubt Kylie's sincerity. Kylie was incredibly genuine, with none of the maneuvering and artificial niceties Felicity had too often witnessed in her work. Cake it is, she said lightly. In the meantime, I'm enjoying your badgers. If anyone can make badgers work at a party, it's you, Felicity. Thanks. I appreciate that. I have some ideas I want to explore. Feel free to let me know if you have any suggestions.